Luna the Shadow Dust is a point-and-click adventure puzzler that has been fully hand-drawn and animated. The art style appears heavily influenced by Studio Ghibli's stuff and yet still manages to stand out on its own. The music is equally as beautiful, and the visuals in the two combined craft a wonderful interactive artwork that is simple to use yet still manages to be challenging at times. A review key was kindly provided by the developer for the game, and it was played on PC. There is no dialogue, written or spoken, throughout the entire game, so the story that's told is conveyed entirely through cutscenes and puzzles left up to the player's interpretation, and I won't spoil any of that here, but instead leave it for you to discover as you play. You'll play as two characters that are tied together in a mysterious bond. One, a young boy, and the other a sort of cat-like creature that seems to know more about what is going on than it's able to communicate. You'll switch between these two as you work your way through each of the rooms in order to solve different pieces of the same puzzles so you can progress upward throughout the tower. I found many of the puzzles to be fairly straightforward as I made my way up the tower. There were a couple that did take some time, and at one point I had to step away and come back to the final puzzle after a break as I was just staring at it and not seeing a solution. A mechanic introduced earlier in the game, which was right in front of me the entire time. As to how hard the puzzles are or how long it takes to play through the game, your mileage will vary based on your investigative and interpretive skills, and if you run into trouble, just remember to consider lights and shadows or colors when trying to figure out the solution. But if you find yourself completely stuck, there is a Discord you can join and ask for help. We'll make sure there's a link in the description. One question I've seen about Luna is if it's a kid's game or if it's too dark. Personally, I feel the story is not so dark or scary that most kids would be turned away from the game, but I do wonder if some of the puzzles might prove a little too difficult. But then again, children sometimes recognize the solution to a puzzle an adult struggles with because they've overcomplicated or overthought it. If you're unsure, I'd recommend playing through to see, or even playing it through with your kid and offering input only when or if they're stuck. As for my final thoughts, this is where we'll break it down into ratings into 5 different categories on a 1 to 10 scale, with 5 serving as an average, and then the average of all of those scores will give us an overall rating. For design, I gave it a 10. As mentioned above, the visual and sound design on this title weave together beautifully. It's amazingly fun to watch and to listen as you play through. For challenge, I gave it an 8. While I found many of the puzzles to be pretty straightforward, there were a few that took me quite a bit of time to try and figure out. For fun, I gave it a 10. I certainly enjoyed playing through Luna and felt very rewarded as I was, working my way through the different puzzles and figuring out the solutions to them. But for longevity and replay, I only gave it a 5. On my playthrough, I did miss a hidden level and several achievements, so for achievement hunters, at least, there's reasons to go back and play the game. But I would suspect most players who play would probably go through the game once and maybe not necessarily feel a reason to go back and play it again. Price, I gave it a 10. Again, at $19.99, especially considering how much work goes into something that's completely hand-drawn and animated on a project like this, and the musical score that was just wonderful. And it's a fun game to play as well. And the puzzles I didn't feel were too overly complicated or too difficult to get through. Challenging, but not too difficult to get through. Well worth the price tag of $19.99. So overall, that gives us an 8.6. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Luna, even while being frustrated trying to figure out a puzzle, and I can certainly recommend this game to anyone that enjoys puzzle games, and especially ones that are hand-drawn or animated like this one is. We'll make sure to include links in the description below for the website and the Steam link for Luna. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and if you're looking for more reviews or our regular weekly podcasts where we typically talk to developers who are working on making indie games, including a interview we had with one of the developers from Luna, you can find that at Bammsters.com. Thank you very much, and I will catch you in the next one. This is Drac, and I'm out of here.